Hello everyone, welcome to philviestory. Today is the 6 days of Malaysia under the movement control order, and I found that some of the member in my group and some in other groups, they don't have a bread maker and they can't get fresh bread outside. So I want to do a video to show that even you do not have a bread maker, you can always hand knead. It's quite easy and you can have fresh bread every day. So you need an oven, and then also you need a few of the ingredients, which is the high protein flour, instant yeast, sugar, salt and milk. The full recipe I will list it down in the description box below, so you may refer to that. And this recipe actually shared by Chef Martin when I attended his class. This recipe I have altered it slightly, so for the original recipe you may need to join Chef Martin class. So to start off, you mix every ingredients together and you need to make sure that your instant yeast doesn't touch with the salt immediately. So like what you see just now, I put in my high protein flour and then I put my yeast on one side, sugar in the middle and salt at the other side. Then I start mixing it with my spatula from the yeast to the sugar and then only include the salt. After that, only I added in the milk. Then after adding everything, use the spatula to mix it in the bowl first. While it's almost mixed well, then you can pour it out onto your kneading table. You may need a kneading space because it's slightly messy, but it will all come together. You can see that right now it's pretty dry, but do not add in any extra liquid because we're gonna add in softened butter in a while. Before we do that, we need to make sure that all the flour all comes together into a dough first before we add in the softened butter. I did not edit or trim this section because this video is mainly for beginners, so I'll let it run, but in the middle part I will fast forward it slightly because the whole duration of my kneading I took about like 15 to 20 minutes. Once you get the dough comes together in one big dough, then add in the softened butter. This is where it gets really messy. My butter actually not softened enough, but it's okay. While you knead, it will start melting and it will make a mess, but when you keep on kneading it, then it will soon incorporate it into the dough. So don't panic, just keep calm and keep kneading. Once the butter incorporated in, you can still see the dough is very rough. It's still very tough to knead, but just continue on. You can treat this as your therapy because you know we as mom will stay at home with the kids, so somehow the tension and everything, you can treat this as a therapy to release your anger. Keep kneading and you can toss it on the table if you want to. It's alright. While you're kneading the dough, you can feel the changes on the dough from tough to a little bit softened and then a little bit elastic. So just keep on kneading. This will take about 15 to 20 minutes and it will depend on how much force you use and how you knead it. The correct way to knead is like what I've shown in the video. You push it out, then roll it back in, and then you're gonna put some pressure on your palm, push it out, then roll it back in. So keep repeating, then toss it a few times. Normally you use the tossing method if your dough is very wet and sticky, but for this recipe it is really easy to handle. It's not sticky, but it's a little bit tough to knead because maybe it's due to there's no egg inside it. So just toss it, knead it until when you feel like the dough is getting smoother, and you can check that you're kneading it enough when you pull a certain part of the dough, pull it, stretch it as much as you can, and then when it can form a circle on the dough without tearing it apart, means your dough is good enough. So you can start proofing the dough. In Malaysia, the weather is hot enough, so all you need to do is take a cling wrap to wrap it up, and then you can leave it on the countertop, or if you like to, you can always put it inside the oven to proof it. Usually it will take about an hour or until it double in size. So after an hour or the dough is double in size, you can check the proofing. If you proof it enough, when you point your finger and push it down, it will stay the same. It does not kecut, as in it collapses or it gets squishy. So you can remove it, then knead it to release all the air bubbles, the gas and stuff. Then line a baking pan and put it in and let it proof again for another time, another hour, and then only you start baking in the oven. But today I thought of trying out to make a panda bread, and it's a disaster, but I'll still include that into the video. So the hand kneading part I have teach you, so you can try it out, and if you try the recipe, you can always tag me in Facebook. I'll leave the link in the description box below, or you can hashtag me in my Instagram. So I have a request in my leopard bread video, a request to make a panda bread, panda printed bread sort of, and I googled and I found a lot of techniques or tutorials to teach that how to do it using a loaf pan. And I thought that I have a bear-shaped cake pan which can also use as a bread pan. I thought of trying to use this. So this is actually my first trial and it's a disaster. I have to play around a few more times to find a way to make the panda bread looks like a panda, because you see, I posted out in my Facebook and people said, oh my goodness, your bread, your panda actually looks like COVID-19 virus. It's just for a laugh. So I will try a few times to get it done before I make a proper tutorial how to make a panda bread using the bear-shaped cake pan or bread pan. And actually it came out quite well, but there's definitely need to trial and error a few more times to get it perfect. And yeah, even though the panda bread is a disaster, the dough, the loaf itself is very yummy. It's soft and fluffy. Klaus actually finished about 3 slices of it by himself. So for this, I hope that you can try it, and then stay safe, stay at home, try not to go out unless necessary, and hopefully all this COVID-19 will be over soon. Thank you for watching, and bye.